The Holy Drunkard. The Kalavar Rebbe told a story that he heard from his ancestors in the lineage of Rebbes. A story of the Mizritcher Maggid, who was the chief disciple and successor of the Baal Shem Tov. The story goes that somebody came to the Mizritcher Maggid, the Maggid of Mizrich, and asked him for a blessing in something very, very serious. The Maggid told him, unfortunately, I can't help you, but I know who can. There's one person in this town, this is his name, and he can help you. But you need to know it'll be a little bit funny, because he's known there as the Drunkard. He's rolling in the streets, always drunk. He says the only time you have to catch him in a time where he's not drunk, and it's very difficult. But it's the moment right after he finishes his morning prayers, instantly he takes a drink. You need to catch him right before that drink kicks in. He goes and he asks him, finds the drunkard, and he catches him in the right moment, asks his blessing, and it was fulfilled. The Chassid returns to the Maggid of Mizrich, this great holy master, asks him, he says, why is it that he, this drunkard, can achieve something that you can't? And the Maggid explained. So this man was a wealthy man, and he had a knack for sins. He tried to find every sin in the Torah that he was able to commit, and he committed every sin he could find. And one time there was this lucrative sin that he was going to commit, and it cost him 400 golden coins at the time. A lot of money. He took it and he went on his way. On his way, he saw a man being led in chains by someone else. He asked what's going on. It was a Jewish man who was an inn owner, a hotel keeper, an innkeeper that didn't have the money for the wages, and he was being led to the pit, to the dungeon, as they would in those days. The Paritz was taking the Yid Nebach to the dungeon, and who knows what his fate would be. He heard the story, he gave him all the money, and he gave up on his sin. Up in heaven there was an uproar, said the Maggid. This man, he wanted so much to do this, and he restrained himself and he gave it all up to help another Jew. We need to reward him. They decided the reward will be that everything he says will come true. Any request he asks for, God will listen to. End of story. That happened, and then they realized it's a dangerous thing. This person is not necessarily a God-fearing, observant man, as you know already from the beginning of the story. And he might ask for the wrong things. So they decided to counteract that. He will always be drunk. And that was his decree. The decree that he's going to have an addiction to drinking. Looks like sometimes things just come from heaven. And that was his addiction. He was going to be drunk forever. So that people wouldn't request of him anything, and nobody will know his strength. And that's what the Maggid of Mizrich told this man. He said, but I know the backstory, and therefore I told you to go ask him for this blessing, which came true. Why are we talking about drunkards? Because in this week's Parsha Shmini, it starts off Vayihi Bayom HaShmini. On the 8th day, big tragedy happened in the Jewish people. A fire came down from heaven and struck the two sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu. And he struck the two sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, and they died. What happened? Torah says, Asher, they brought a strange fire which they were not commanded to. The Midrash has a field day with this. There's about 6 known or more, 6 to 10 reasons why they died. Rashi brings 2. The Rebbe talks about this in expansive talks, many talks. I'm going to bring one point of one talk. The Rebbe says there's a lesson in this for us. The Rebbe says they had 2 reasons. One were Horu Halacha Shelo B'Fnei Rabban. Basically, they chose to do things without asking Moshe, without asking above. And they weren't respectful of the idea that Moshe Rabbeinu is the leader of the generation. The other thing is Shesuye Yayin Nichnesu LaMikdash. They entered drunk into the temple. Hello. Hi. They entered drunk into the temple, into the Beis HaMikdash. They actually went into the Kodesh HaKodashim drunk. So the Rebbe says basically the 2 areas over here from the context of the Torah, that the Torah uses the word Eish, that takes a Eish milifnei Hashem v'tochal, a fire came down and consumed them. We learned that they were actually good guys and they did wonderful things. Because just a few verses prior, the Torah uses the same fire, saying that the fire that brings the Shekhinah down, God's presence into the world. So it wasn't that they did something completely evil, or they were bad people, but they made some mistakes. So the Rebbe says here are 2 mistakes that they made according to the Kabbalah Hasidic philosophy. And it goes like this. Number 1, Horu Halacha Shelo B'Fnei Rabban. They didn't recognize that you need a leader, that everyone needs a leader. No matter how great you are, you need a Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Moshe Rabbeinu of every generation is the Rebbe of that generation. So we all need to study the Rebbe's teachings and gain guidance from his teachings. And that leads me parenthetically to, we're entering the month of Nisan next week, and that is Yud Aleph. Of course there's Pesach, but in Yud Aleph Nisan, the 11th of Nisan, is the Rebbe's birthday. Wherever you are, find a Rebbe birthday celebration and go there. Here in Cleveland, we're doing some wild and wonderful things on that note. The next thing was they came in drunk. What's wrong with being drunk? Everyone's supposed to be drunk on Purim, and people drink on Simchas Torah. Drunkenness over here was not a negative. It was actually a positive. But it was in the wrong time and place. And that's where they got short-circuited, according to the Hasidic teachings. And that's where they were struck dead. So, at a deeper level, wine is compared to Torah all the time. Yeah, in Torah, you squeeze grapes, you get wine. You study hard, extract the wisdom of the Torah. Wine is compared to the wisdom of the Torah. We are meant to use our intellect and to study the Torah and to understand it, engage in it, apply all of our personality to it, completely immerse ourselves and who we are, bring our character to the table when we learn Torah. That's what wine represents. The Mishkan, the temple, represents prayer, especially the Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holies. Prayer is a different world. In prayer, we're not meant to engage intellectually and use all of our characteristics, and our personality in prayer. We're supposed to be, the Hebrew word for it is bitul. We're supposed to be completely subjugated, nullified, surrendered just to God. It's not about us. Prayer is about God, and we are God's servants. Okay, Avda Kamamari, like a servant before a master. It's not about me, it's about God. So Torah is about me understanding God. The wine of Torah is about me understanding God, using my intellect. Prayer is about me putting myself aside completely, putting my intellect aside, selflessly connecting to God. They, the sons of Aaron, they were drunk in the temple, in the Holy of Holies. They brought the Torah spirit into a place of prayer. And that's where they got short-circuited, and that didn't work. And that is one of the teachings of the Rebbe that we have for this week's Torah portion. And so we study with all our might and with all our character, and we pray selflessly. It's not about me, it's about God. It's a quick, short, beautiful lesson. And one more reminder, the Rebbe said as it nears Pesach, everybody should make sure anyone you know has matzah for the Seder and has a Seder to go to. So this beautiful talk, beautiful teaching, I just saw. We're trying to find the source of it. I posted it on my Facebook also, that Rabbi Eliezer says somewhere, or Rabbi Gamliel says, that it's not the Seder, it's not about the matzah or the wine or the myrrh. They didn't come out of Egypt with us. It's about the people. Each of us needs to be at a Seder. And the Rebbe said many times people wanted to put a special seat for Holocaust survivors, which is a noble thing, for the people who are missing in the Holocaust, from the Holocaust, to put an empty seat at the Seder. And the Rebbe said, if you have an empty seat, fill it up. Don't leave it empty. If you have room on your table, room in your heart, make sure everyone has a place for the Pesach Seder. That's it for today. God bless you guys. Shabbat Shalom. And Lehitraot. Thanks for joining.